Hello and welcome to Nick's Allotment Diary. An update on the fruit cage. As you can see looking around, everything is very overgrown. Strawberry plants have been producing loads of runners. The black currant bushes are well and truly finished. Blueberries are starting to take on their autumn red colour leaves. Particularly like the spectacular colour here. Something that has done well have been the perpetual strawberries. We're now in mid-September and I'm still getting quite a few strawberries, some of them quite small, but if you look at that one, it's quite a decent size. So these carry on producing right through the summer. So I'll definitely be growing these next year. I've got them growing in one of the 30-litre buckets, but I'm going to take some runners off this plant and see if I can get some more growing next year. The fruit cage definitely needs weeding. There's lots of annual weeds that'll need taking out, and the blackberry that I've planted has spread everywhere. Don't think it's the right place for it to be inside the fruit cage. It's going to be too vigorous, so in the winter I'll dig that out. I'm also going to take out the raspberry cane that you can see at the back. Raspberry canes have a habit of producing suckers and producing lots of shoots everywhere where you don't want them to be. So I'm going to move that one out of the fruit cage and into the fruit bed at the front of the plot with the other raspberry canes. Talking of raspberries, this is today's harvest of raspberries. These are all the autumn fruiting variety from a few different bushes, but don't they look nice? Butternut squash plants are starting to die back now. They've produced some small butternut squashes. They're not very big, maybe put my hand against that one, about that size. Not many of them. Might try a different variety next year. Pumpkins doing well though. See these, if you have a look at this one, it's starting to change colour definitely, and the smaller one next to it. And amongst the pumpkin patch there is one of the blue pumpkins, and if we go around here, there's another couple of pumpkins there. This one is going to be a blue one, that one's going to be an orange one, and the biggest blue one is this one here. When I say blue, I'm not sure how blue they're going to end up being. Probably sort of a turquoisey green colour. I think the biggest pumpkin is going to be this one here. This is on another plant. I put it in the bed where the onions were earlier in the year, and that one is doing pretty well. So provided we don't get any frosts, I reckon that one could be a decent size. There's another one, you can see it just under there, smaller one, and I did see a very small one on the plant somewhere. Oh, here. So that one, I don't know whether that'll have a chance to develop at all, but I'll leave it on the plant. The cobra beans are just about finished now. I've picked a basket of them today, but left some of the larger beans on the plant. I'm going to let them dry off and produce seeds that I can store over the winter, and I've got a feeling I'll have plenty of seed for next year. I've been very pleased with this variety, and I'll definitely be growing it again next year. Quick look at the apple tree. The apples on this tree have been brilliant, very nice and tasty. Unfortunately, I can't remember the variety. I've had about a dozen apples off this one small trunk. In fact, I've had to stake it up because the weight of the apples were just too much for the size of the tree. This other side, as you can see, is sort of flopped over, but there are still quite a lot of apples on it. It's time to dig the sweet corn out of this bed. On that side we had the lettuce, and on this side were the peas growing up this netting. I'm going to free up this space now so I can plant some leeks that will overwinter in this bed. Time to dig it out, and you can see most of the corn has been got by the rats or mice or birds, whatever it was that actually ate my corn. So time to dig these out and make some space. Right, so I've dug over the bed, taken out the majority of the sweet corn plants, just left the last 3 which went in later than the others. Also left in the sunflowers because there's still a few small sunflowers growing as shoots. So I want to leave those as long as possible. Raked over the bed, and my plan is to plant a few rows of leeks. I'm going to leave some space in the centre for broad beans that I plan to plant probably in about October time to overwinter. So I'm making holes with this, which is basically just a handle off an old fork, and I'm making them about maybe 10 inches apart. I've not measured them, but just basically a line in roughly a straight line. And I'll do another row here, and then I'll just show you how I plant the leeks. The leeks that I'm going to plant are a variety called Porvite. These are garden centre bought plants. I haven't grown these myself this time. I have got a row of leeks in from earlier in the year which I did plant, but I didn't have enough leeks, so I thought I'd get these and get them growing over the winter, so that I should have plenty of leeks in the spring when there isn't much else to harvest from the allotment. They seem to be healthy enough plants, plenty of roots on them, so what I need to do is just separate them apart so they're all individual. and then I'll show you how I plant them. Right, so I've teased them apart, so they're nice sturdy plants, and what I need to do now is just trim the roots with a pair of scissors and trim a little bit of the leaf off the top. That just means the plant won't get a shock when it's planted, because it's been growing nicely in a load of compost, and I'm now going to stick it in a hole, so it'll encourage it to root better and grow away quickly. Okay, so here's our leek plant, and I'm just going to trim the roots, as I said, trim a little bit off the leaf off the top, and then twist it into the hole. Some of the soil will drop down into the hole, and that actually helps to settle the plant in. Apologies for the wind noise, by the way. It's a bit breezy today. These are quite decent leek plants, so I do think they should get away quite easily, should grow well. I usually grow my own leeks, but these will mean that because I didn't get round to planting some towards the end of the season, that I should have a decent crop of leeks. So the leeks are all planted now. The only other thing I need to do is now puddle them in, and all you need to do with regard to that is, you'll see there's a hole round each of the leeks. Just pour some water into that hole, and watch, the leek might just float up a little bit, but it will settle the soil around the roots. So you don't need to fill the hole in, the hole will naturally fill in. As it rains, soil will just get washed down into the hole. And apparently this is the best way to get your leeks to grow off well. So there we are, 2 rows of leeks to grow through the winter. Today's harvest: green beans, sweet corn, potatoes, tomatoes, yellow courgettes, peppers, tomatoes, some red chilies, some bell peppers, yellow tomatoes, raspberries and strawberries. Thanks very much for joining me at Nick's Allotment. I'll see you again next time.